Welcome back to the Artificial Fluency Podcast.
Today we're tackling something I know is on a lot of your minds. How to really get better at listening to and speaking English.
Yeah, unlocking those skills. We've got some, really interesting stuff today. Real life stories, but also some thinking around mindset.
Exactly. And our goal, our mission really is pretty simple. Pull out the key things, the practical tips you can actually use, like today, without feeling overwhelmed by it all.
And what's great about the sources is how they mix the practical, everyday chat with the mental side of learning. It's not just verbs and nouns.
Right, it's more holistic. So let's start with a couple of questions from our first source. It's an audio piece for intermediate practice. It asks you straight up, how often do you really practice listening?
Be honest.
Yeah. And do you find it tough when native speakers talk really fast? Makes you think, doesn't it, about your own habits?
It really does. Puts you right in the picture and taps into those, common frustrations. Facing them head on is a good first step, I think.
Absolutely. So this recording then dives into stories. First up is Natasha. She tells this story about a kid, David, out in the country.
Oh, yeah.
He tried building a treehouse, right? But it fell down. Used the wrong tools.
Okay. A classic mistake.
But the lesson he learned was, pretty valuable. If you don't know how, just ask for help. It seems obvious, but...
Well, it is, but think about language learning. How often do we not ask because we're afraid of looking, silly or inadequate? That fear itself can stop you.
That's such a good point. And Natasha also said it wasn't just what David said about it later, but how he said it, his tone, the pauses.
The nonverbal stuff.
Exactly. It shows understanding English is, it's more than just words. It's feelings. It's what's between the words.
Absolutely. It's intonation, rhythm, pauses. Linguists call it prosody sometimes. That carries so much meaning. It's not just the dictionary definition.
Okay. Next story is from Mark. He's a journalist. He was all set to interview this famous author, had his list of questions.
All prepared.
Right. But then, talking to the author, he got so into the personal stories, he just forgot some of his questions.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. But his takeaway was fascinating. Sometimes the best way to learn is just to really listen, ask follow-up questions, go off script.
It's that difference between, structured learning and just organic conversation. Being present, curious, adaptable, that often gets you deeper insights than sticking to a plan.
For sure. He felt he learned way more just by following the author's lead. Again, is paying attention to how the flow, the emotion.
It really highlights that active listening isn't passive at all. It takes focus, empathy. You have to be really engaged, not just waiting your turn.
Okay, now a really powerful one. Mr. Thomas, a retired firefighter, talking about a house fire rescue.
Wow.
What struck me was his language. So simple, but incredibly impactful. He said something like, we couldn't see anything, but we kept going because we knew someone needed help.
See, that's it. Simplicity. No fancy words needed to convey the gravity, the emotion of that. It paints such a clear picture. Using what you saw, heard, felt.
And that's a huge tip for your speaking and writing. Use clear, simple words. Describe your experience directly. It makes your English much more interesting, more powerful.
Definitely. Authenticity and clarity often hit harder than, trying to sound super academic. Just express yourself genuinely.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Rachel, who started a bakery.
Right.
Tough start of the market. Not many customers, even got some criticism.
Ouch, that's hard.
But she kept at it. Listened to feedback, made small changes, and eventually, success.
It's such a good parallel for learning English, isn't it? It takes time. There will be bumps.
Yeah.
But you keep going, you adapt, you learn from the mistakes. It's that growth mindset idea.
Exactly. You don't need perfection on day one. Just keep trying, keep learning from every little error.
Yeah.
It's encouraging if you're feeling a bit stuck.
That resilience is key. She didn't give up. She listened, adapted. That's vital when you're tackling something challenging like a new language.
Then we hear from Kareem. He works at a community center. He tells this story about a man, very shy, limited English, practicing job applications, interview questions, really working at it. Took him a few tries, but on the third attempt, he got a cleaning job, and he just broke down crying.
Oh, wow. That really shows the real-world impact, doesn't it? Language isn't just a skill in a vacuum. It opens doors, builds confidence, helps you belong. It's the human side of it.
Totally. So empowering. That feeling of achievement after struggling with the language barrier is huge.
And it also shows how important support is, right? Kareem helping him out, guiding him, community matters.
Yeah, definitely. Next, Daniel, a bus driver.
Yeah.
Lots of little stories. Helping a woman with bags on his first day, which boosted his confidence.
Nice.
Then making it a habit, greeting people, helping out.
Yeah.
Even helped an older man get to the hospital. And the key thing, simple kindness, clear, calm language. No big words needed.
It's that combination again. Empathy and straightforward talk. It's not about complexity. It's about making people feel seen, understood.
And then Emily, a nurse, talking about her stressful first year. She helped a worried mom whose child was sick. Mom didn't speak much English.
That must be so difficult.
Emily stayed calm, explained simply, even wrote things down. The mom came back later just to say thank you, really touched.
It's a powerful example of how kindness and clarity can bridge that gap, especially when things are stressful, like in healthcare. Understanding is critical.
Emily's takeaway is so important. Kind words, calm voice, they really help understanding, even if the language isn't perfect. And by listening carefully, she could still sense the mother's feelings.
Yeah, communication is so much more than just the words. Body language, emotional intelligence, just the effort to connect.
Then there's Richard, the builder, lost his factory job, had to change careers.
Tough transition.
Learned construction from a friend, watching, doing. Started his own business. Honest hands construction. Known for good work, but also clear communication.
That makes sense. Trust is huge in that line of work.
He makes a point of explaining things simply to clients. Uses pictures, sketches, like with Sarah and her countertop.
Using visuals, different strategies, that's smart. It shows adaptability, lifelong learning, and just being clear builds that trust.
His lessons are great. Don't give up. Be open to learning. Speak clearly and kindly. Pretty good advice for anything, really.
Absolutely. Perseverance, learning, empathy, fundamental stuff.
Then Anna, grocery store worker. Customer confused by the word aisle, trying to find cooking oil.
Ah, yes, aisle. Can be tricky.
Anna just switched gears, said, please follow me. Walked him there. Simple.
That quick thinking, simplifying on the spot, it shows you're focused on helping the other person understand, not just using the right word, being responsive.
Her point is basic, but brilliant.
Yeah.
If someone's learning, use easier words, maybe slow down a bit. Small things make a big difference.
Exactly. It's about facilitating understanding, not showing off your vocabulary.
James, delivery driver, gets a flat tire. Rain, behind schedule. Stressful. But he stayed calm, changed it. And he mentioned using simple, clear phrases with customers. Your package is here, please sign here.
Staying cool under pressure and using efficient language when clarity is key. Very practical.
His tips. Stay calm with problems, practice past tense, action words, time phrases, but keep it simple. Really links language to daily tasks.
Yeah, points out exactly what kind of language is useful in those everyday moments.
And finally, from source one, George the mechanic. He really stresses using simple, direct sentences to explain car stuff. Builds trust, he says.
And there's that theme again. Clarity, simplicity, building trust, ensuring understanding. It keeps coming up.
Okay, so let's switch to our second source. This is from a YouTube video transcript, the English Pod Community. Also about everyday practice. It starts with a prompt about kindness.
Right.
Asking you, ever helped a stranger? How did it feel? What would you do if you saw someone needing help?
It connects emotionally right away, doesn't it? Links language learning to real, personal stuff. And the writing suggestion helps solidify it.
The video then tells a story from the host's cousin, Emma, a teacher, about a student, Ben. Really quiet, seemed isolated. Emma made an effort, gave him small tasks, included him, and slowly he opened up. Eventually even gave a class speech.
That's wonderful. Shows how small acts of encouragement can make such a huge difference in someone's confidence, their growth, the power of support.
The lesson. Attention and encouragement really can change things. And it asks you to think, when did someone's kindness make you feel better? Maybe write about it.
These reflection prompts are great. They make you stop and process the ideas, connect them to your own life, helps the learning stick.
Next up, William's story. Moved to a new town, felt awkward speaking to strangers at work.
Very relatable feeling.
Big moment was when a customer, Mr. Parker, just said kindly, it's okay to make mistakes.
Ah, that's gold. Just that little bit of reassurance.
Totally. So William started his own strategies. Wrote down phrases, looked them up, practiced, spoke slowly, asked people to repeat things politely.
See, that's practical advice. Proactive steps to overcome that anxiety. Learning from mistakes, seeking clarification, brilliant.
And it worked. After a couple of months, his manager praised him. Then he started helping new staff. The reflection asks you about a time you felt nervous speaking English. What helped you push through? Maybe write about feeling brave.
It connects his journey directly to the listener's potential struggles, reframing nervousness as a chance for courage and growth.
Then, Rachel the baker again. Different story this time.
Yeah.
Learning to bake a big birthday cake for a neighbor. Thomas, never done one that big.
Ooh, stepping outside the comfort zone.
Yeah, lots of effort trying designs, following instructions, figuring out icing. Delivered it with shaking hands, she said.
I bet.
But got great feedback, more orders. It's about taking initiative, tackling challenges.
Exactly. Pushing yourself even when it feels daunting. That's where real learning happens often.
The reflection asks, when did you try something new and hard? What did you learn? Again, drawing that parallel to your own experiences.
Keeps reinforcing that idea. Growth comes from tackling challenges.
Michael, another bus driver. Story about a new kid, Adam, nervous on the school bus first day.
Oh.
Michael greeted him kindly, shared his own story of changing schools, gave simple advice. Just smile, say hello, ask someone's name, and just be yourself.
Lovely. Simple, actionable advice. And sharing his own experience makes it relatable.
He checked in on Adam daily. Soon, Adam was making friends. The point. Simple kindness, encouragement makes a massive difference. The prompt asks you about someone who made you feel welcome somewhere new.
It makes you appreciate those small gestures and maybe think about how you can do the same for others, paying it forward, kind of.
Daniel, the technician, new neighbors, Laura and Benjamin. He fixed their washing machine.
Right.
But he also explained it clearly, gave tips, became friends. Later helped Benjamin after an accident, just stepped up. Benjamin said Daniel made them feel they could rely on someone.
It's about more than just fixing things, isn't it? It's communication, making people feel understood, safe, supported, building connections through clarity and empathy.
Exactly. Good communication builds trust. The reflection asks you to think about someone you know who communicates well. How do they speak? How does it make you feel?
Analyzing what works and the feeling it creates, that's insightful.
Then we get a bunch of shorter examples. Grace, the nurse with Mr. Howard, elderly, limited English, in pain.
Sensitive situation.
She spoke slowly, clearly, used a picture card for pain location, held his hand, used simple, soft words. He was so grateful. Her philosophy: treat everyone like family, simple words, kind eyes, take time.
Beautiful, compassionate communication, patience, simplicity, nonverbal cues, empathy overcoming the barrier.
Her point: speak with care, not speed. Easy words, warm tone. Kindness trumps perfect grammar. The prompt: think about when you helped someone understand something hard. Were you patient? What words did you use?
Makes you reflect on your own approach in those moments. Very useful.
Then quick hits. Stephen the furniture maker: honesty, patience. David the carpenter: listen carefully, simple language. George the baker: warm greeting, clear explanations. Thomas the librarian: explaining clearly builds confidence. Alice and Simon: learning fractions patience, step by step. Thomas the chef and Claire the server: clear team communication support. Mark the cafe worker and Lily: friendly daily chat. Olivia the receptionist: clear, polite, professional language. Ethan and Mr. Green: patient teaching. Sophie in the grocery store: clear directions. Grace finding a lost dog: simple questions, helpfulness. Rachel at the post office: clear options and costs.
Wow, yeah. Across so many different jobs and situations, those same core ideas keep popping up.
Yeah.
Clarity, empathy, patience, adapting. It really drives the point home.
It really does.
All right.
Okay, final source. John and Emma in an audio recording. This one really focuses on mindset. How changing your thinking about English dramatically impacts how you speak. Better fluency, more confidence.
Right. Moving from the external techniques to the internal game. Because often the biggest blocks are the ones we put up ourselves, psychologically.
They start with that feeling. You want to speak, the words are in there somewhere, but your mind just blanks. Why does that happen so much?
Well, like they say, it's often mindset, isn't it? Self-doubt, fear of mistakes. Those negative thoughts just freeze you up, creates a mental block.
Exactly. And the big shift they suggest is, think of English as a tool for communication, not some scary puzzle you have to solve perfectly. Perspective is everything.
That reframes it completely. It's not a test. It's a way to connect, express yourself, get things done. Much more positive, much more functional. Takes the pressure off.
They tell a story with their friend Daniel. Not a grammar whiz, they said, but totally fearless about speaking.
Just jumps in.
Yeah, mistakes and all, because he truly believed mistakes were just learning chances. And guess what? His fluency shot up really fast because of that attitude.
That's such a powerful example. growth mindset in action, willingness to be imperfect, prioritizing getting the message out, even if flawed, that often leads to faster progress.
Then their colleague Sarah. She was really worried about her accent.
Oh yeah, that's a common one.
The advice she got was brilliant. Your accent is part of you. It's not the focus. Your message is. That flipped a switch for her confidence.
That's huge. Self-acceptance. We put so much pressure on ourselves for a perfect accent, but communication is about meaning. Your accent is part of your identity, not something to hide.
And their friend John, he just made it a point to chat with everyone. Every little conversation was practice. And naturally, his confidence and fluency grew.
That consistent, real-world practice, it shows you don't always need formal lessons. Every interaction counts if you have that practice mindset.
Which leads to a great practical tip. Treat everyday stuff, ordering coffee, buying groceries like mini lessons. Practice speaking confidently.
Yeah, integrates it into daily life. Low pressure. Makes the world your classroom, basically. Demystifies speaking.
They also stress remembering why you're learning English. Your goals. That's your motivation, your internal compass for confidence when it gets tough.
Connecting to purpose, that why is so powerful. Gives you fuel when you feel discouraged. Keeps you going long term.
Another practical tip. Practice at home, maybe. Or just use English in small ways daily. Those moments add up. Like watering a plant, they said. Little by little, it grows.
Creating that immersion, even at home. Small, consistent actions have a big cumulative effect. Doesn't have to be drastic.
They used a nice analogy, too. Climbing stairs with a little surprise on each step for those small wins in learning.
That's a good visual. Makes the journey feel like achievable steps, each with a reward. Less overwhelming.
And they wrap up by saying, celebrate those small wins, trust the process. And they mentioned Daniel, Sarah, John, again, how they transform things with practice and the right attitude.
Yeah, it's a really hopeful ending. Reinforces practice, perseverance, and that crucial positive mindset for success.
So let's try and bring this all together. Key takeaways from this whole deep dive.
Okay.
We've heard loads of stories. And the big picture seems to be, improving English isn't just grammar and vocab. It's so much about your mindset, how you approach communication.
Absolutely. We saw again and again how kindness helps, how clear, simple language works best, how crucial active listening is, and persistence. Plus, seeing mistakes as learning opportunities, not failures.
And that big idea, shifting your view from fearing errors to just using English as a tool. That seems fundamental for building confidence and fluency.
It really is liberating. Takes away that perfection pressure, lets you engage more freely.
So what can you, listening now, actually do? Well, first, maybe revisit those have you ever questions we talked about. Try journaling your answers in English. Good reflection, good practice.
Good idea. Second, maybe pick one or two interactions today. Treat them as those mini lessons. Just try speaking a bit more confidently when you order lunch or something.
Third, remind yourself why you're learning English. Reconnect with your personal goals. That can really boost your motivation.
Fourth, think of one small way to bring more English into your home life this week. Change phone settings, watch a short video, something simple.
And finally, just remember those stories. People facing challenges, building confidence through effort and positivity. It shows it's absolutely possible for you too.
Definitely. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Consider the impact, the ripple effect of even small acts of clear, kind communication in your day, in your learning journey. What little seed of confident communication are you going to plant today? Welcome to the Artificial Fluency Podcast. I'm Emma.
And I'm John. Hi, everyone.
Today, we're diving into something that can, well, really unlock your English idioms and phrases.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's expressions where the real meaning isn't obvious just from the words themselves. It's almost like there's a kind of secret language hidden inside English sometimes.
That's a really good way to put it. You might feel you have a strong grasp of grammar and vocabulary.
Right.
But then you hear a native speaker say something like, it's raining cats and dogs, and suddenly you're picturing, well, something pretty chaotic.
Exactly. And that has nothing to do with the actual weather.
Not at all.
So that's why we're doing this deep dive today. We're looking at 20 essential English idioms and phrases.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission really is to help you not just understand these common expressions when you hear them,
Right.
but also to give you the confidence to start using them yourself. It makes your spoken English sound so much more natural.
It really does. It's about moving beyond just the dictionary definitions, isn't it?
Yeah.
And really getting the nuances of how people actually talk.
Yeah.
Think of it as boosting your conversational fluency in a very practical way.
And we really want you to get involved with this. As we go through each idiom, maybe try saying it out loud.
Yeah, good idea.
Visualize what it means. Think about how you might use it. The more active you are, the better this stuff sticks.
Definitely. So are you ready to decode some of these secrets of native English?
Let's do it.
Maybe we should start by just clarifying what an idiom actually is.
Okay, good plan. So let's unpack that. What exactly defines an idiom?
Well, at its core, an idiom is basically an expression where the overall meaning, it's different from the literal meanings of the individual word.
Right.
If you try to understand it word by word, you'll often, miss the point entirely.
And these things pop up constantly when native speakers are talking, don't they?
Oh, absolutely, they do. It's estimated that native speakers use idioms, well, incredibly frequently. Yeah, some research suggests maybe as often as 4 times a minute in just everyday chat.
Wow, 4 times a minute.
So really understanding them is pretty key to following along naturally.
Which explains why just translating them directly can lead to some pretty funny misunderstandings. You had some good examples of this earlier.
I did, yeah. Take the English idiom on cloud 9. It just means extremely happy, right? But a literal translation gives you no clue about that feeling, that elation. Or think about a German one like Das Stepp der Bär.
Okay.
Literally, it's the bear is dancing there.
Ah.
But it actually means it's going to be a great party. Or things are really lively there.
That's brilliant. It reminds me of our one, break a leg.
Ah, yeah.
Which we say for good luck, especially, before someone performs. Imagine trying to figure that out literally.
Exactly. The literal idea is totally disconnected from what you actually mean.
Right.
So the crucial thing really is to learn idioms as whole phrases, as complete units.
Right.
Focus on understanding the overall meaning, not trying to break them down word by word.
So it's almost like learning a new piece of vocabulary, but it's a group of words instead of just one.
Precisely, yeah. And don't worry too much if they don't seem logical at first.
Okay.
As you hear them more and start to practice using them, you'll get a feel for how they work. Sometimes you even get a glimpse of, the history or the culture behind them.
Okay, that makes sense. So where should we kick off our exploration of these 20 idioms?
Let's start with idioms related to time. Time comes up all the time in conversation, obviously.
Sure does.
And these expressions are really common in all sorts of situations.
Sounds like a good place to start. What's the first one on the clock, then?
Okay, our first time idiom is to beat the clock.
Eat the clock.
Yeah. This means to finish something just before a deadline hits.
Okay.
For instance, you might say, I was really beating the clock to get that report finished before 5 p.m. Why don't you try repeating that? Beating the clock.
Beating the clock.
Got it.
Yeah.
So when might you use this? Like, in what sort of situation?
Well, think about any time there's a time limit, really.
Right.
Like, we were beating the clock to set up the room before the guests arrived. It really emphasizes that last-minute rush,
Okay, got it. What's the next time-related one?
Next up is in the nick of time.
In the nick of time. I've heard that one.
Yeah. It means at the very last possible moment, just before it would have been too late. A classic example is something like, the fire department arrived in the nick of time and saved the building. Your turn to repeat. In the nick of time.
In the nick of time.
Yeah.
That really gives you that sense of narrowly avoiding something bad, doesn't it?
It does, those close calls.
Yeah.
You could also say, I caught my train in the nick of time. The doors were literally closing as I jumped on. It adds that feeling of just making it.
Right. Okay, so what's the next way we talk about time with idioms?
Around the clock.
Around the clock.
This one just means continuously, 24/7, throughout the day and night. Okay.
For example, emergency services have to operate around the clock. Repeat after me. Around the clock.
Around the clock. I can definitely relate to that one. Thinking about having a newborn baby in the house, it feels like you're on duty around the clock.
Exactly. It really emphasizes that constant, nonstop nature of something.
Okay, let's try and weave these first 3 together in a quick example. Imagine a busy professional, tight deadline.
Okay, feel the pressure.
Right. So they might say to a colleague, oh, this project has been insane. I've been working around the clock all week trying to get it done. Yesterday was mad. I was really beating the clock to finish the final edits, and I submitted them in the nick of time, like seconds before the system closed.
Wow, you can really hear the stress and then the relief in that. See how these idioms just add so much more color.
They do. Much more vivid. Okay,
Yes.
let's move to a time idiom that suggests something happens very infrequently,
Yeah.
once in a blue moon.
Yeah, I know this one. It means very rarely, almost never. Exactly. Precisely. A good example sentence might be, he only visits his parents once in a blue moon. Now he lives abroad. Repeat that. Once in a blue moon.
Once in a blue moon.
And interestingly, a blue moon is actually a real thing. It's the second full moon in one calendar month, which, doesn't happen often.
Oh, that's cool. That little bit of trivia makes it easier to remember. I could say I only eat pizza once in a blue moon.
Perfect use. Okay, and our final time-related idiom for now is to kill time.
Yes. Doing something just to make the time pass while you're waiting. We've all done that, haven't we? Stuck in an airport or something.
Definitely. You might say, I was just killing time reading a book while I waited for my flight. Say it with me. To kill time.
To kill time, yeah. Very relatable.
It is. So that's 5 common idioms all about time. Shall we switch gears now and look at how we express feelings and emotions using idioms?
Yeah, this should be really useful. What's the first emotional idiom on our list?
Okay, the first one is to feel under the weather.
Under the weather.
It's just a gentle way of saying you feel a bit sick or unwell. Not seriously ill, just off.
Right.
For example, sorry I can't make it tonight. I'm feeling a bit under the weather. Maybe repeat that one. Feeling under the weather.
Feeling under the weather.
Right.
It does sound softer than saying I'm sick.
Exactly. You can say to a colleague, I'm feeling a little under the weather today, so I might take it easy.
Okay, what's next? Hopefully something a bit happier.
It is. Our next one is to be on cloud 9.
Ah, we mentioned this one earlier.
We did. It means to be extremely happy, just totally elated. Ever since she got that promotion, she's been on cloud 9. Try saying it. On cloud 9.
On cloud 9. I can picture someone saying, after I passed my driving test, I was on cloud 9 for days.
Perfect. It really captures that intense joy. Now, for an idiom describing a, less pleasant feeling, to drive someone up the wall.
Oh, this sounds like strong irritation. It means to really annoy someone a lot, right?
That's exactly it. Spot on. My neighbor's loud parties are driving me up the wall. Repeat that. Drives me up the wall.
Okay. Drives me up the wall. I think we can all relate to that sometimes. My roommate leaves dirty dishes everywhere, and it absolutely drives me up the wall.
A very common frustration.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, next up. To have butterflies in your stomach.
This is a great one, that nervous, fluttery feeling you get.
Exactly. That feeling of nervousness or anticipation. Before walking out for the interview, she had butterflies in her stomach. Say it with me. Butterflies in your stomach. It's that physical sensation.
Butterflies in your stomach. I always get that before public speaking. Always.
It's very common. Yeah, that pre-performance anxiety. And our final emotion idiom for this section is to blow off steam.
Ah, yes. Letting out frustration or stress.
Precisely. It means releasing that pent-up stress or anger, often by doing something physical or distracting. After that awful meeting, I went for a really hard workout to blow off some steam. Repeat. Blow off steam.
Blow off steam. I sometimes just put on loud music and dance around the living room to blow off steam after a tough day.
Excellent example.
Right.
Okay, now let's try a little conversation snippet using a few of these emotion idioms.
Okay, let's hear how it sounds.
Right. So maybe you ask a friend, how are you feeling about that big presentation next week? And they might reply, oh, honestly, I've got major butterflies in my stomach already. Plus, my neighbor's dog has been barking nonstop, which is driving me up the wall and making it impossible to concentrate. I was actually feeling a bit under the weather yesterday, probably from the stress. But, they might add, I'm just hoping that once it's over, I'll be totally on cloud 9 and I can finally blow off some steam and relax.
See how much more vivid that is. Using those idioms really paints a picture of their emotional state, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It adds that whole emotional layer. Okay, let's move on. How about idioms related to conversation itself, how we communicate? These are super useful for just navigating social interactions.
Oh yeah, this sounds incredibly practical for learners. What's the first communication idiom?
It's to get to the point.
Get to the point. Simple, direct.
Exactly. It means to say what you mean directly, without rambling or adding lots of unnecessary stuff. For example, he talked for about 10 minutes before finally getting to the point and asking for help. Repeat. Get to the point.
Get to the point. I can see the value in this. You might say politely in a meeting, sorry, but could we try to get to the point so we can make a decision soon?
Exactly. Very useful. Next, we have to put words in someone's mouth.
Oh, right. This is when someone claims you said or meant something that you actually didn't.
Precisely. Misrepresenting what someone said. Hey, don't put words in my mouth. I never said I hated the idea. I just said I had some questions. Try saying that phrase, put words in my mouth.
Put words in my mouth. It's definitely useful to be able to call that out when someone does it.
Absolutely. Okay, another key one. To be all ears.
This means you're listening really carefully, right? You're super interested.
That's it. Fully attentive. Tell me all about your holiday. I'm all ears. Repeat. I'm all ears. It shows you're giving your full attention.
I'm all ears. You'd say this when a friend is about to spill some gossip or share big news.
Exactly. Now let's look at to hold your tongue.
This means stopping yourself from saying something, usually because it might cause trouble or be inappropriate.
Precisely. You want to say it, but you consciously decide not to. I really disagreed with his comment, but I decided to hold my tongue. Say it with me. Hold my tongue.
Hold my tongue. That can be hard sometimes.
It certainly can. And our final communication idiom for this bit is to talk someone's ear off.
Yes. When someone just talks and talks and talks, maybe boring the listener a bit.
Exactly that. Talking for a very long time, possibly to the point of tiring the other person out. Be careful asking my uncle about his stamp collection. He'll talk your ear off for hours. Repeat, talk your ear off.
Talk your ear off. It's a funny one, but very descriptive. You might jokingly warn a friend about someone who tends to, well, talk their ear off.
Indeed. Okay, quick scenario using some of these. Maybe a slightly awkward family dinner?
Oh, I think many people can picture that.
Right. So you might say, during the meal, my cousin started talking my ear off about his new car, and my aunt kept trying to put words in my mouth about my future plans. Honestly, I had to really hold my tongue several times to avoid an argument. Eventually, my brother just said, okay, cuz, can we get to the point we're all trying to eat here? After that, though, I was all ears when my other cousin started telling us about her amazing trip to Peru.
Those idioms really bring that whole family dynamic to life, don't they?
They do. Using them just helps you navigate those social situations a bit more smoothly. Okay, let's move on to our last category for today. Idioms about success and challenges. Really useful for talking about goals, difficulties, results, that kind of thing.
Yeah, these should be great for discussing work projects or, personal goals. What's the first one?
Our first idiom here is to hit the nail on the head.
Hit the nail on the head.
This means to describe something absolutely correctly, to identify the exact cause of a problem or the perfect solution, to get right to the heart of the matter. Your analysis really hit the nail on the head regarding our sales figures. Repeat, hit the nail on the head.
Hit the nail on the head. You could say to a teammate, wow, I think you've really hit the nail on the head with that suggestion. It solves the exact problem we've been discussing.
Exactly. Perfect. Next, we have to be in the same boat.
This means being in the same difficult or challenging situation as other people, doesn't it? Creates a feeling of shared experience.
That's right. Emphasizes solidarity. Don't worry about finding the course difficult. We're all in the same boat as new students. Try saying it. In the same boat.
In the same boat. It's a nice way to build connection. You might say to other parents at the playground, it's tough juggling working kids, isn't it? We're all in the same boat.
Precisely. Okay, our next one is to bite off more than you can chew.
Ah, yes. Taking on too much work or responsibility, more than you can actually handle.
Exactly. Overcommitting yourself. By volunteering for 3 committees while studying full-time, I think I've definitely bitten off more than I can chew. Repeat. Bitten off more than I can chew. It often implies realizing you've taken on too much.
Bitten off more than I can chew. I think most of us have felt that way at some point.
I think so too. Okay, let's move on to break new ground.
This sounds positive, like doing something really innovative or making a big discovery.
That's exactly the meaning. Something pioneering. Their scientific research is breaking new ground in renewable energy technology. Say it with me. Breaking new ground suggests originality and impact.
Breaking new ground. You could say this artist's latest exhibition is really breaking new ground with its use of digital media.
Exactly. And our final idiom for today's deep dive is to go the extra mile.
This means making a special effort, right? Doing more than is required or expected.
That's it, exceeding expectations. The hotel staff really went the extra mile to make our anniversary special. Repeat, went the extra mile.
Went the extra mile. It's always nice when someone goes the extra mile, whether it's customer service or just a friend helping out.
Absolutely. Okay, let's try a quick work-related conversation snippet using these here. Maybe talking to a manager about a project.
Okay, let's hear it.
You might say something like, look, I'm a bit concerned we might have bitten off more than we can chew with this project deadline. I know we're all in the same boat, feeling stretched thin right now. However, I think your idea about restructuring the workflow really hit the nail on the head. If the whole team is willing to go the extra mile over the next month, I genuinely believe we can not only deliver, but maybe even end up breaking new ground with the final product.
Yeah, those idioms fit perfectly into that kind of professional discussion. Adds a bit of nuance.
They do. They add depth to talking about challenges and potential successes.
Right. Now, to really pull all of this together, let's listen to that longer chat you mentioned between two friends, Alex and Jamie. They haven't seen each other in a bit. Try to spot as many of the idioms we've covered as you can.
Exactly. Listen for how naturally they just drop them into the conversation.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm all ears. Alex. Jamie. Wow, it's so great to finally see you. It feels like we only manage this once in a blue moon these days. Jamie. I know, right? Work's been crazy. I've been working around the clock on this new product launch. Honestly, it's been driving me up the wall with all the last-minute panics. Alex. Oh man, that sounds intense. One event. I'm all ears. Jamie. Well, to get to the point, I think the team kind of bit off more than we could chew with the initial timeline. We're trying to break new ground with the tech, which is cool, but so demanding. Yesterday, I was seriously beating the clock trying to get the final specs approved before the cutoff. Alex, tell me about it. I feel like I'm often in the same boat at my place. My manager tends to talk my ear off about achieving targets, but isn't always great with the actual support, you know? Totally. And sometimes in planning meetings, I really have to hold my tongue when someone tries to put words in my mouth about, like, my doubts about the strategy. Alex. That sounds so frustrating. How are you coping with all the stress then? Jamie.
Well, I've started going for runs after work to blow off steam. But I did get some amazing news yesterday, which has me completely on cloud nine. I got that senior position I applied for. Alex. No way. Jamie, that's fantastic. Congratulations. This is brilliant. You know, I had terrible butterflies in my stomach just last week giving that big client presentation, but it actually went okay in the end. My boss even said I really hit the nail on the head with my analysis. Jamie, well done. You always go the extra mile preparing for those things. Hey, are you feeling okay, though? You look a little under the weather. Alex. Yeah, I think I'm just tired. Had a mad dash for the train this morning and only made it in the nick of time. Jamie. Oh, okay. Well, listen, why don't we ditch this coffee shop and actually grab dinner properly this weekend? We can catch up instead of just killing time here. Alex, that sounds absolutely perfect. I really missed having a proper chat.
Wow. Okay, that conversation was just packed, wasn't it? So many of the idioms we've just discussed. And you can really hear how they make the chat sound, well, real, natural, and expressive.
They really do. Native speakers sprinkle these kinds of expressions into their conversations without even thinking about it. And as you probably noticed, the context usually makes the meaning pretty clear, even if it's the first time you're hearing that specific idiom.
Yeah, that's true. And remember, the more you hear these idioms used in context, podcasts, movies, real conversations, the easier it'll become for you to both understand them and, importantly, feel confident enough to try using them yourself.
Absolutely. That's the key, really. Don't be afraid to give them a go. It's a huge step towards making your own English sound more natural and fluent.
Well, congratulations, everyone. You just completed a pretty intensive deep dive into 20 essential English idioms and phrases.
Yeah, well done. Remember, though, the real key to mastering these is just consistent practice. Maybe try to pick, say, 2 or 3 from today.
Good idea.
And consciously try to use them in your conversations this week. Just see how it feels.
And if you found this useful, we've got more deep dives planned to help you boost your conversational English. Next time, we're going to tackle phrasal verbs.
Ah, yes. The classics.
Those combinations like look up, break down, get away with. They're so common and so essential for sounding natural. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that one.
And we'd genuinely love to hear from you. Which of these idioms did you find most useful today? Or maybe the most interesting? Are there others you're curious about? Let us know. You can find us via the website and our social media channels.
Yeah, definitely. And don't forget to check out the website anyway, because we've put together some downloadable worksheets and flashcards for this deep dive.
Oh, great.
They'll help you review and practice these 20 idioms. It's a really good way to make sure they stick.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive today. Remember, building fluency, and that includes getting comfortable with idioms, it's a journey, not a race. So keep practicing, and please don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Exactly. It's all part of learning.
It really is.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Emma from the Artificial Fluency Podcast.
And I'm John.
And we look forward to continuing your English learning journey with you in our next deep dive.
Happy practicing, everyone.
And finally, just a little thought to leave you with. Think about some common idioms in your own native language. Do any express similar ideas to the ones we talked about today, like being extremely happy or feeling unwell? Now, think about the literal meanings of your language's idioms. Are they totally different from the English ones, like on cloud nine or under the weather? Considering these kinds of cross-language comparisons can actually offer some pretty fascinating insights into how different cultures see and express the world. Something to think about. Welcome back to the Artificial Fluency Podcast.
Great to be here.
Today, we're diving deep into some fantastic resources you shared, all about, leveling up your everyday English.
Mm-hmm. Looks like some really practical stuff.
Yeah, we've got audio covering essential phrases, some smart practice methods, and also how to learn English effectively, looking ahead to 2025.
Right, so the goal is to boil it down.
Exactly. Our mission, to cut through the noise, find the most useful bits to help you make English learning a natural part of your daily life, without it feeling like a chore.
Sounds good. Where should we start?
Let's jump right in with those essential daily English sentences, that first audio.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great place to start. The audio from Emma at Artificial Fluency, it really spotlights those everyday phrases that native speakers actually rely on.
Right.
And what's interesting, I think, is how even small changes in wording can make a big difference in how you come across.
Totally. Like, I'm running late. It just feels different than I will be late.
It does, doesn't it? It feels more active, like you're already moving, but just behind.
Yeah, there's a sense of motion and maybe a hint of apology in there.
Precisely. Saying, I'm running late for coffee, just sounds more engaged, more considerate.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's, I'll take care of it.
Oh, yeah. That one's good. Very confident.
Right. It projects much more confidence than just say, I will do it. It's about showing you're taking ownership of the task.
Definitely conveys responsibility. Like if someone asks about paying the bill, I'll take care of it. It's reassuring. You sound dependable.
Small words, big difference.
And it slipped my mind. That's such a gentler way to admit you forgot something.
It really softens the blow, doesn't it? I forgot. Can sound a bit abrupt.
Yeah, maybe a bit careless sometimes.
Exactly. It slipped my mind suggests the thought just sort of floated away. It's more socially graceful. Like if you miss calling someone back, sorry, it totally slipped my mind.
Uh-huh. And I find the thing is super useful. It's like a little signal that you're about to explain something.
Absolutely. It's a natural bridge. It signals you're about to give some important context, or maybe the main point, especially if it's a bit complex.
Right. It prepares the listener.
Yeah. Like, I'd love to help you move. Thing is, my back's been acting up lately. It just smooths the way for the reason.
And being diplomatic, I'm not sure about that, is key when you disagree or you're just uncertain.
Oh, definitely. It's a great way to express doubt without being, confrontational.
Keeps the conversation flowing.
Exactly. Someone suggests a really risky investment, maybe. Not sure about that. Opens things up more gently than a flat, no way.
Good point. And then there's, it depends. So much meaning packed into just 2 words.
Yeah. It shows you, understand things aren't always simple, right? There's nuance.
Like, should we take the bus or the train?
And the answer, well, it depends.
Yeah.
Depends on the traffic. It shows you're actually considering the different factors. More thoughtful.
That works for me. Just straightforward agreement. Simple, positive.
Yeah, it communicates approval and flexibility really clearly.
Yeah.
Friendly, easy, suggest a meeting time. Yep, that works for me. Done.
Okay, and then I'm swamped. That paints a very vivid picture.
It really does. It's much stronger than just, I'm busy.
Yeah.
It conveys that feeling of being totally overwhelmed with stuff.
Like, can't do lunch, sorry, I'm swamped. People get it immediately.
And I'll keep that in mind. Useful for acknowledging advice without maybe committing right away.
Exactly. It shows you've heard them, you've considered it, but maybe you need to think it over. Respectful. Someone suggests a new app. Oh, okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Nice. No worries. It seems almost universal now for casual responses.
It really is. So versatile, friendly, responding to apologies, or even thanks sometimes. Makes you sound relaxed.
Someone bumps into you, no worries.
Exactly. Or thanks you for holding a door. No worries. Easy.
I see what you mean. That's so important for showing empathy or just understanding. Absolutely critical for a good conversation. It shows you're actually grasping their perspective, even if you don't 100% agree.
Right. Validates their point.
Yeah. In a tricky discussion, saying, okay, I see what you mean, shows you're listening, you get their logic.
And to be honest, that signals something genuine is coming, maybe something a bit sensitive.
Spot on. It prepares the listener. Like, to be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of that movie. Sets an authentic tone.
Okay. That makes sense. Another great one for acknowledging someone's reasoning.
Shows you follow their logic, you understand their thought process, even if maybe you do it differently.
Like if they explain why they chose a certain career path. Okay, that makes sense.
Exactly. It validates their rationale.
And I'm looking forward to it. Just pure positive anticipation.
Yeah. Radiates enthusiasm, doesn't it? For a dinner, a meeting, a vacation. Really looking forward to our chat next week. Encouraging.
Nice. And finally, just in case, shows you're thinking ahead, prepared.
Precisely. It explains why you're taking a precaution. I'll bring an umbrella just in case.
Foresight. So the big takeaway from all of these is how subtle word choices can really shift the message, make you sound more polite or confident or empathetic.
Absolutely. And like Emmy said in the audio, actually saying them out loud is crucial. Practice is key.
Right. You got to get comfortable using them. Okay, so that covers the essential phrases. Let's move on to the practical English practice techniques from the next audio clip.
Yeah, this one gets into the how-to of building those consistent learning habits.
And what really jumps out is this theme of small, consistent efforts, little and often.
Definitely. Setting achievable goals, like the example of Jack the software developer learning just 5 new technical words daily. It's about sustainability.
Right. Not trying to boil the ocean. Small daily wins really add up. And I liked the idea of weaving listening into your routine.
Like Sarah in marketing listening to podcasts on her commute.
Yeah.
Using that existing time.
Yeah. And the idea of re-listening to the same thing. That was interesting.
It is. Because repeated exposure helps you catch things you missed, right?
Yeah.
Nuances, different accents, the natural rhythm of speech. You're training your ear.
Makes sense. And using apps and online tools during downtime, like John the teacher on his commute again, making learning accessible.
Exactly. Those little bite-sized exercises, they fit into busy schedules so easily. It feels less like a chore, more just part of the day.
And watching English YouTube channels, finding stuff you're actually interested in, like Megan the nurse watching medical English videos, learning vocabulary and context.
That's so important.
Yeah.
Learning through immersion in topics you genuinely care about. And she wasn't just passively watching, right?
Yeah.
Noting new words, repeating sentences, active engagement.
Good point. And speaking, the importance of actually speaking with others, even if your English isn't perfect. Like Tom, the software engineer in his online group, that takes guts.
It really does. But overcoming that fear of mistakes, finding supportive places to just practice. It's essential for building fluency and confidence. Making mistakes is part of it.
Absolutely. Then there was shadowing, imitating native speakers. James, the sales manager, shadowing business videos. That's quite specific.
Yeah, it's a technique focused purely on pronunciation and rhythm. You're literally mimicking the music of the language, training your mouth and ear together.
Interesting. And learning vocabulary in real-life situations, like Anna, the stay-at-home mom, describing her cooking process, connecting language to life.
Exactly. Makes it stick so much better. Turning everyday stuff into learning moments. And looking up words immediately reinforces it right there, in context.
Okay. And describing your daily life in English, even just thinking aloud, like Rachel the mother doing housework. That's clever, makes English part of your internal world.
It really does. It forces you to connect English words to your immediate reality, integrating it into how you think. Simple self-talk. Big impact on confidence.
Writing short journal entries daily, like Mark from the warehouse. Just a few sentences. Focus on output.
Yeah. Writing forces you to actively use the grammar, the vocabulary you're learning. Again, consistency is the key, just like Mark showed. Better than one long essay once a month.
Role-playing scenarios, like Claire prepping for a job interview, that seems super practical for specific situations.
Totally. Lets you rehearse those real-world interactions safely, reduces anxiety, helps you recall the right phrases when you actually need them.
And explaining things you've learned, like David the construction worker repeating podcast lessons in his own words, that's like teaching yourself.
Exactly. Teaching is often the best way to learn. It forces you to process, articulate, really understand it deeply. Aids recall massively.
Reading out loud, Paul, getting ready to move to the UK. Physical practice for your mouth connects seeing and saying.
Precisely. Strengthens that link between reading and speaking. Improves pronunciation, fluency, and recording yourself. Great for tracking progress.
Even simple things like talking about yesterday and tomorrow, like Emma the baker practicing tenses during her day. Makes grammar practical.
Yeah, less abstract, more integrated into just talking, applying the rules natural.
So many techniques. But they all seem to point towards finding what works for you and doing it consistently.
That's the thread, isn't it? Personalizing it, making it sustainable, finding ways to weave it into your life. Language exchange, diaries, social media.
Right. Okay, let's look at the third audio then. This one's focused specifically on learning English effectively in 2025 with some concrete resource recommendations.
Yes, Emma, again, with the 7 key tips. The first was listening to podcasts, and she suggested ones native speakers actually listen to, which I thought was a great angle.
Yeah, like stuff you should know, especially the short stuff episodes for general listening.
Right, it's about exposing yourself to that natural, everyday English, but in an engaging way. Fun topics.
And she mentioned people I mostly admire for more challenging listening, understanding experts.
Exactly. The topics can be complex, but the speakers usually explain things clearly. Good for picking up more sophisticated language.
And This American Life for really diverse speaking styles, plus a dose of American culture.
Fantastic resource. That variety of voices, accents, stories, it really hones your listening skills across different contexts. Gets you used to authentic American English.
Okay, tip 2 was watching English-only YouTube videos. Again, some diverse picks.
Yeah. Tom Scott for fascinating, often funny stuff. Makes learning enjoyable, right?
Definitely. His style makes complex things seem easier to grasp. Good for comprehension.
And School of Life for self-help content. Adds that personal development angle.
Which can be motivating. Learning English and something about yourself.
Right. Then Geography Now for learning about countries, and the subtitles help accessibility.
Good point. Learn geography and English.
And the Minimal Mom for lifestyle stuff, that specific video, How to Keep a Clean House in 2025, reinforces learning through everyday, relatable topics again.
Connects back to that real-life integration. Okay, tip 3. Write a few sentences daily. The Rose, Bud, Thorn prompt.
I like that one. Simple structure makes daily writing less daunting. You reflect on the good part, Rose, something you're looking forward to, Bud, and a challenge, Thorn, all in English.
Builds the habit easily. Tip 4 was consistency. Short daily practice beats long, infrequent sessions. Mention the 90-day challenge idea.
Yeah, the core message, again, regularity is king. Even 15 minutes daily is way more effective long-term.
Number 5, listen to audiobooks. She recommended free ones on YouTube. The Giving Tree, Matilda, Life of Pi. Different levels.
And suggested different ways to use them. Listen, then read. Read, then listen. Or both together. Caters to different styles. Reinforces listening and reading.
Smart. Tip 6. Watch English TV shows. Young Sheldon for everyday conversations, seeing daily life.
Great for picking up natural dialogue, common scenarios, like around the dinner table.
And Jim Gaffigan, the comedian, to test fluency through humor. That's a high bar.
It really is. Understanding humor often relies on grasping cultural nuances, wordplay. It's a great benchmark for advanced comprehension. If you get the jokes, you're doing well.
Okay, and the final tip, number 7. Speak out loud every day. Read your journal entries aloud, or use those Speak With Me YouTube videos.
Crucial. Got to activate the speaking muscles. Even talking to yourself or following a video builds confidence and fluency. And that other video wrecked of the one with 15+ teachers sharing tips. Sounds like a gold mine.
Wow, so many actionable ideas packed into these resources. Really practical stuff.
Absolutely. And the common thread really is making English learning a consistent, integrated, and hopefully enjoyable part of your daily life.
Yeah, whether it's mastering those key phrases, using smart practice techniques, or just consuming interesting, authentic content.
We've definitely covered a ton of ground today thanks to the materials you shared.
So for everyone listening, remember those key takeaways. Consistency is crucial.
Right. Start small, set goals you can actually achieve.
Weave English practice into your routines in ways that you find genuinely interesting. Don't make it a drag.
And please, don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's literally how you learn.
We really encourage you to maybe revisit some of the specific examples we talked about, the phrases, the YouTube channels, that rose, bud, thorn idea.
Yeah, think about which of these strategies kind of clicks with your learning style. How could you start incorporating maybe just one of them, starting today or tomorrow?
So what are your initial thoughts listening to all this? Which method feels like the easiest first step for you? What challenges do you maybe see coming up? We genuinely love to hear your reflections.
Keep exploring, keep practicing, and keep taking these deep dives into the world of English. We'll be right here for your next stack of sources whenever you're ready.
Thanks for tuning in to this deep dive.